Last night, the NFL conducted their honors award ceremony. But last night, what we saw was absolutely a travesty and a complete total joke. We're going to talk about in today's episode, folks, so don't you go away.
We used to be a team no one respected. We used to be a team no one feared. That was then. This is now.
First victory of the year on the line. Goff's got it. Back, looks, throws, end zone. Yes! Caught!
You know who we are.
10-5, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions.
And you know where to find us. We won't be far. We'll be on your front porch waiting for you. We are the New Era Lions. And
we are driven by Detroit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and we're diving on in. But before we get to it, I just want to say to all my loyal fans and subscribers, welcome on back to the show. Thank you all for coming back. Thank you all for devoting some more of your time to the show. Really means a lot to me. But to those that are also tuning into my show for the very first time, I wanted to say, welcome on in. Thank you all for giving my show a shot as well. I hope you all enjoy the content, but even more so, I hope to gain your subscription if I've earned and deserved it. And with that being said, to everybody, I just want to say, hope you all having a great day. God bless, and let's get into the show. So, here's the thing, folks. The NFL Honors Award Ceremony. Pretty much the end of the year award ceremony for the NFL. I gotta say this. There used to be a time where that ceremony actually meant something to me, at least. I can't speak for everybody else, but to me, that award ceremony used to mean something. Because it usually meant that people who should win certain awards got the awards because they had clearly 100% earned the awards, or damn near 100% earned the awards. But I gotta admit, the more I keep watching, the more I keep coming to understand that the award ceremony is kind of becoming almost like the damn Pro Bowl. Because think about it. What is one of the things that we have heard about the Pro Bowl over the last couple of years? It's become a joke because it's like, listen, the Pro Bowl actually used to be a football game. Now what is it? It's a whole bunch of skill-based competitions and a flag football game. It's not even real football anymore, folks. The Pro Bowl actually used to mean something as a football game. Now it doesn't. And now the NFL Honor Awards Ceremony is kind of getting that way because people are giving awards to other folks that are less deserving of the award than people that have 100% deserved the award in comparison. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Because I know for me as a Lions fan, it's going to be very, very easy to just go straight towards the fact that no Detroit Lion won virtually any award of any significance. Yes, I know Craig Reynolds won the Block of the Year award, but come on now, folks, let's get real here. The Lions should have won a lot more than that. They should have won a hell of a lot more than that. But I'm going to talk about this from a total perspective, not just the Lions. But we're first going to talk about the Lions' perspective, and then we'll talk about everything else. So, let's get into it specifically here. For most Lions fans, the biggest gripe, the biggest issue is the NFL Head Coach of the Year award. Because to me, it's like, okay, here. Who won the actual award? Kevin Stefanski of the Cleveland Browns. Now, I'm going to say this. The Browns, they had a good season. Not going to take that away from them. But let's think about this seriously here for just like half a minute. The Browns got into the playoffs not as the number one seed in their division. Because you have to think about it. The Browns were part of a packed AFC North because the Ravens got in, the Steelers got in, and so did the freaking Browns. The Steelers, I think, were number 3 in that division. The Browns were number 2, and the Ravens were number 1. So the AFC North was packed in the playoffs. They had a lot of representation. But yet, wait a minute here. Here's where, for me, this whole thing kind of goes off the rails. I started looking at Twitter last night, and I was like, okay, here, please, somebody explain to me why Kevin Stefanski won the NFL Head Coach of the Year award. And not just the first time. This is the second time he's won it. The reason I kept finding was because of the fact that the Browns had dealt with a whole bunch of injuries throughout the year, and yet they still were able to get to the playoffs. But yet, that to me is kind of like a ridiculous reason as to why someone should win an award like that. Because it's like, okay, why do you win an award like that? You win the award because of not only your job as a head coach as far as your performance, but also how you are as a leader. Okay, now let's understand something here. I'm not saying Kevin Stefanski's a bad leader. It takes a very special individual to keep a whole team together when you are dealing with a lot of injuries. But last time I checked, injuries are part of the game, and injuries are going to happen every year regardless of circumstance. It's going to happen. So that's just kind of like, something you deal with every single year. Okay, time out here. Dan Campbell. What did Dan Campbell do this year? Dan Campbell got the Detroit Lions to the playoffs for the first time since 2017. That's a pretty impressive accomplishment because we hadn't been there in what was it? Let's see here. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So 5 years. We hadn't been there in 5 years, number one. Number two, we won not one, but 2 home playoff games, something that the Lions have not done since 1957. And then on top of that, the Lions got to the NFC Conference Championship game, something the Lions have not done since 1991. Last time I checked, the Browns had won a playoff game much sooner than all of those numbers that I just put up. And then on top of that, let's understand something else here. Like I said, the Lions won 2 playoff games, right? What did the Browns do? Oh, that's right. The Browns had home field advantage in the wild card of the AFC, and they got their literal butts spanked. Spanked. They lost 45-14 against the Houston Texans. Now, understand why I'm saying it that way. I'm not saying it because the Houston Texans are a bad team. I'm saying because for a guy that supposedly won the NFL Head Coach of the Year award, your team should have done a lot better than that on the final scoreboard. But yet, this is where I'm going to put in the second part of my argument with the NFL Head Coach of the Year award. If Dan Campbell didn't win the award last night, DeMeco Ryans should have won the award. Because here's my point here. Think about this. Dan Campbell getting the Lions to a conference championship game for the first time in 30 years, that right there is deserving in and of itself. Because everybody knows the Lions' history. Everybody knows the Lions' woes of the past. It's like, listen, understanding that right there puts you in a very, very high front-runner position for that award. But I got to give DeMeco Ryans a hell of a lot of credit, even though I'm not a Texans fan. I'm a Lions fan. But it's like, listen, you take a look at the Texans. The Texans last year had the number 2 and the number 3 overall draft pick. Number 2 and number 3. And somehow they went from being a team that was absolutely crap the year prior and won a playoff game the very next year. I don't have to tell people in the NFL how damn ridiculously hard that is to do. That's hard. Dan Campbell had to take 3 years before he got his team to the playoffs and won. DeMeco Ryans did it in 1. That's pretty impressive. That's why I'm saying I have nothing against Kevin Stefanski as a leader or the fact that, he kept his team together with all the injuries. But it's like, listen here, folks. You want to try and compare Kevin Stefanski's success from this year versus Dan Campbell's success of getting the Lions to a conference championship game for the first time in 30 years, or DeMeco Ryans literally in 1 season taking a bottom feeder team in the Texans, getting them to the playoffs, spanking a home opponent that had home field advantage 45-14 to win a playoff game in a 1-year turnaround. I'm sorry, Kevin Stefanski. You should not have won. It should have been either DeMeco Ryans or Dan Campbell in a landslide. No doubt. No debate. Sorry. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Kevin Stefanski should not have won his second NFL Head Coach of the Year award last night. I'm sorry. That's just the facts. I love Dan Campbell, but it's like, listen, I want the best person to win the award. And if it wasn't Dan Campbell that should have won the award, it was definitely DeMeco Ryans. So that right there got my ire up. Because okay, the wrong person won the award last night for NFL Head Coach of the Year. It's like, listen, nothing against Kevin Stefanski, but you shouldn't have won the award. So that's number 1. Number 2, NFL Assistant Coach of the Year. Again, another Cleveland Brown won this award. Last night was kind of like the Cleveland Brown show. And it was just like, dude. The only one that realistically, in my opinion, won the award that actually had a decent foot to stand on was Myles Garrett. That was the only one that I thought actually won their award fair. But anyway, that's beside the point. NFL Assistant Coach of the Year award. Jim Schwartz won that award last night. Now, I'm going to say this. Jim Schwartz had a great year as, again, an assistant coach for the Browns as their defensive coordinator because the Browns had an absolutely dominant defense in the regular season. Because, again, the same thing I said for Kevin Stefanski in the Head Coach of the Year award applies to freaking Jim Schwartz and the Assistant Coach of the Year award. Because, wait a minute here, your defense was virtually dominant almost every single game in the regular season because you had a great defense, Jim Schwartz, in the regular season. But I got to ask a question. Where the hell did that defense go in week 1 of the freaking, playoffs? Where did it go in the wild card? Because, again, I'm going to keep bringing this up. You got spanked 45-14, 1 against a rookie quarterback, but also 2 against a team that the year prior finished number 2 overall in the draft process. So please, I want to know how in the hell freaking Jim Schwartz won the award when literally your whole body of work, regular season and postseason, should be part of the process for choosing this. Especially considering the fact that Ben Johnson was supposed to, in my opinion, win the award last night. Because let's understand something here. Again, I understand that Jim Schwartz had to deal with injuries on defense. More so than what Ben Johnson had to deal with on offense for the Lions. But here's what I have to understand here for a moment. Let's understand this. Ben Johnson, for the last 2 straight years, has put together top 5 offenses for the Detroit Lions. Last 2 straight years. Oh, and again, by the way, what was that? Oh yeah, the Lions got to the conference championship game this year, won 2 playoff games, and Ben Johnson was a pretty big part of that last time I checked. How many playoff games did Jim Schwartz and the Browns win this year? Oh, that's right, 0. 0. And again, Jim Schwartz's defense gave up 45 points. 45 points. Or something close to that. If I recall correctly, the Browns did have a pick 6 in there from Joe Flacco. Either way, point of the matter is that Jim Schwartz's defense did not show up against the freaking Texans. It didn't show up. And they had home field advantage. But yet, somehow, Jim Schwartz won the award and not Ben Johnson. Now, I'm going to say this. Great thing for Jim Schwartz because he does have prior Lions connection. So I can at least swallow that one a little bit better. But here's my question. If an assistant head coach is supposed to mean anything in the NFL, I have this one question to ask. Why was it then that for assistant coaches this offseason, I don't recall hearing almost Jim Schwartz getting any head coaching interviews because I don't recall almost hearing any conversation about Jim Schwartz getting head coaching interviews. That may or may not have happened. But I know for a fact that Ben Johnson got a literal crap ton of head coaching interviews. I know that one for a fact. I don't recall hearing Jim Schwartz getting damn near almost any. So it's like, wait a minute here. Jim Schwartz wins the Assistant Coach of the Year award almost for the exact kind of same reasons that Kevin Stefanski won Head Coach of the Year award, but yet, where's the postseason success? Where is there anything in the postseason that shows that, hey, not only what you did in the regular season work, but then when you got to the postseason, you were able to continue the success? There is none. And again, you lost against the Texans. Again, that to me is a huge red flag. So, there's that part for those 2 issues. But then there's the part about the actual voting itself. Both Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson did not even finish second in the voting process. They finished 3rd. Now, obviously, I would be okay with that because of the fact of DeMeco Ryans was part of also the Head Coaching of the Year award kind of process. But Ben Johnson should not have finished at 3rd. He should have been easily number 2, and it should have not been that far apart in terms of the overall voting parameters. So that right there, again, huge problem to me, because pretty much what it tells me is that the AP writers that did the voting they didn't give a care. They did not care about the Lions. They were just simply like, hey, you know what? We want to go with what feels good. Which then leads me to the next one. This is how I'm going to step away from the Lions for a minute and just talk about this individually. How in the hell does Joe Flacco win Comeback Player of the Year award? I just don't understand that one for me. I just don't. How does Joe Flacco win the award? Don't get me wrong, Joe Flacco had a great end of the year run, but that was it. Joe Flacco himself said that he wouldn't have voted for himself for Comeback Player of the Year. He would have given the award to Damar Hamlin, a guy that actually died on the freaking field. How in the hell do you win the award over a guy that actually literally almost gave his life playing the game of football? I'm sorry. That to me makes no sense. Now, I know some people have said, well, David, you don't just give an award to somebody just because of that. Where's their performance? Where's their ability to play on the field? Okay, fine. Then let me ask you this question. Why does, Joe Flacco deserve the award over Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield played the entire season with the Buccaneers, and oh, by the way, actually won a playoff game with the Buccaneers to actually get to the divisional round. So tell me again how Joe Flacco, only playing a couple of weeks versus Baker Mayfield playing a whole year, won the award. Again, the wrong person won the award. That's my whole point with this episode. The NFL Honors Awards ceremony handed out a lot of awards last night to the wrong people. I'm not saying they weren't non-deserving, but they were a lot less deserving than other people that should have won the awards. It's like, listen, I get it. You did something good. But did you really deserve the award? Kevin Stefanski? No, you didn't deserve the award. Jim Schwartz? No, you didn't deserve the award. Joe Flacco? Hell no, you didn't deserve the award. That's my whole problem. The NFL last night, the AP writers, they handed awards to the wrong individuals, and it was blatantly obvious. Which is why I'm going to make this suggestion right here, because again, it'd be one thing to just complain and then just walk away from this episode. But to me, here's what I think the NFL needs to do. They need to do for the Honors Awards the exact same thing they do for the top 100. They need to be like, okay, instead of having writers who want to talk about this, actually let the players and the coaches make the decisions. Actually let them do the voting. Like every single year, you get new writers, or you get like new people that are in there voting. You get new people that vote. And they decide who gets to be the award. People that actually play, coach, and actually are in the NFL. Not writers. Not people that have very little to no association with the NFL. Actually people that are in the NFL that are like, okay, I actually know who I'm talking about here. I've worked with them or worked against them. It's like, listen, that I can respect a lot better than an AP writer somehow saying, well, based upon my opinion, which I may or may not have any sort of inside knowledge on this, I'm going to give the award to this person versus somebody else that, because I've worked with them or I've worked opposite of them on a football field, they should get the award. So that's what I'm saying. NFL, here's my proposal to you. Get rid of the Associated Press handing out the awards for the honor ceremony and actually give it to the coaches and the players to decide every single year and change it up that way. That way it's a lot better and a lot more representative of the NFL itself rather than people that just have opinions about the NFL. That's my proposal. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out of my system because I'm just like, what I saw last night was just a joke. Last night was an absolute joke. There were some people that won awards that they should have won, but overall, it was a joke. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. But anyway, folks, just wanted to get this out of my system because after this, we can then get through the Super Bowl, and I'm not going to really watch that, but whatever. And then we can actually get to the NFL offseason with the draft and free agency, which is what I really want to talk about. But anyway, having said that, I just want to say thank you all for watching an episode of MCM Motor City Mania. Like what you saw, by all means, do one of these three things. Like, comment, and subscribe. If by chance you've subscribed in the past, you forgot to do so, or you just subscribed and I had a chance to do so. Again, want to highly, highly encourage y'all, please make sure you subscribe. But also make sure you turn on that bell notification icon as well, so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. Also want to encourage y'all, please, to make sure you do these things as well. Please share the content. The more we share it, the better the channel does and the better the channel spreads. So please share with your Lions friends and family members. Share here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. And with that being said, I just want to again say thank you all for watching the content. It really means the world to me that you guys are such devoted to watching the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the content, but even more so, I hope that you guys became subscribers. If you didn't, hopefully I'll get another chance to do so in the future. But until that time, I just want to say God bless, and until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.